The new Heroes of Faerun book has some extremely juicy things in it that we need to talk about. Teamwork is encouraged in this book, and not just the crazy circle spellcasting. Yeah, thanks, spellcasters really needed a buff. We're talking about subclasses and feats and other things that bring a party together in fascinating ways. And they even made a feat specifically that calls out mundane items to make them even better for your character. Perhaps the first feat written specifically for me. Hello everyone, I'm Tony, your 6-2-bit hero, and this is a new kind of video for us. We're covering some exciting stuff from a new book, starting with the Banneret, your new favorite DM PC. I was super excited when I heard we were getting an update of the not so great Sword Coast Adventures support fighter. I know you've all heard about my mundane item rogues and monks and all that, and if you haven't, check out the mundane items playlist on the channel. Regardless of all of that, fighters are definitely my favorite class. I could play nothing but fighters without multi-classing literally forever, and it'd be a great time for me. Also, it's a charisma-based fighter, unlike our two previous intelligence-based friends, the Psy Warrior and the Eldritch Knight. That's great. I'd love to hear your first impressions in the comments section or about anything in the book that excites you. Since there's basically no way I get this uploaded on Halloween, happy late Halloween. That's why I'm dressed as Clark Kent. Was the Banneret worth my hype? No, not really. But let's get into a couple of cool teamwork and support options anyway, because this could still be quite fun and really impactful in very specific moments. Starting at level 3, your Banneret gets Nightly Envoy, which gets you 3 features, 2 of which their effectiveness will be very campaign dependent. Comprehension gives you access to the Comprehend Languages ritual, which is kind of cool. The Polyglot feature gives you access to an extra language and uniquely allows you to change that learned language on a long rest to one you've seen, heard, or read in the past 24 hours. I'm gonna assume it means attempted to read, but I guess that counts as seen already. Or you could use the first feature to comprehend languages, and either way, it's kind of neat. In a campaign where you stumble upon some abyssal book or something and nobody in your party can read it, that sounds pretty rad, honestly, but very campaign dependent. And the last feature, Well Spoken, which gives proficiency in one of the charisma-based skills. That's useful in most campaigns, unless you're just diving into monsters in dungeons, which maybe you are. The other feature you get at level 3 is Group Recovery. This is their big flagship ability, and this one is also kind of the big disappointment for me. I kind of get on paper why it isn't spammable if it has to be this specific feature, because being able to use this lots of times would make your entire party more powerful, sort of, but it's, well, let's tell you about the feature. Whenever you use Second Wind to regain hit points, you can choose a number of allies equal to your charisma modifier within 30 feet. Those allies heal 1d4 plus your fighter level. 1d4 plus your fighter level. So at level 5, you could heal anywhere from 6 hit points to 9 hit points. On a couple of people, that's not very good. I mean, it's good if multiple people are down and you, the Banneret, are standing tall, telling your group to get back up and continue the fight. But otherwise, not a very strong heal, and it scales very poorly. Stranger still when you consider most of the healing spells got big buffs in 2024. So Wizards of the Coast presumably understood that healing needed to keep better pace with the enemies. The other extremely disappointing part of this is that you can only use this once per short or long rest. It's already tied to your Second Wind. Why did it need this additional restriction? I'm honestly not sure. And why doesn't the healing just match what you're already rolling at least and be a D10 plus your fighter level? Then you only have to roll it once and it just goes to everybody. That's not overpowered. One really nice thing about this, though, is that these are not temporary hit points. 2024 has a temporary hit point problem. They love giving temporary hit points. So at least this is real healing to your HP and could bring you back up if you went down. You also don't need to see your party members. You don't need them to be able to hear you. No restrictions other than 30 feet, which could make for a big epic moment. But if you save this for the perfect moment and you don't get your perfect moment, you didn't really get a subclass feature, did you? This should obviously just be usable alongside your Second Wind. It's already a resource. I have to move on, or I'm just gonna get myself upset. At level 7, your Banneret fighter gets Team Tactics, another use at the perfect moment that may not come feature, but this one's easier to place when you could use a boost for your team. When you use group recovery, so it's tied to that and only once per short or long rests alongside your second when healing you, each chosen ally has advantage on all D20 tests until the start of your next turn. Now, that is in most circumstances far better than the healing you could do. You can time this to be quite impactful. And you may be thinking, awesome, I can use group recovery as my bonus action, get advantage on all my attacks, maybe action surge, and even if I was just using this feature on myself, it would have an impact. Let me stop you right there. Group healing and team tactics, those are only for your allies, not you. This is a selfless class. So you can set up your team to have advantage on all of their saving throws against upcoming important lair actions, or in a skill challenge, or just to ensure this one last push goes as well as possible against the baddies. Advantage on everything is quite good. Unfortunately, you can't participate and that it only lasts till the start of your next turn, but it's pretty cool. This would have been cooler if it just combined with the level 3 ability at level 3, to be honest, though that would be pretty powerful for a low-level party. That would have probably been okay to be once per short or long rest, but, you know, advantage. Many times you may want to use this, let's say, first round of combat while you're charging in and likely to take some big spells or something. You're not really using the benefit of group recovery in that case. This feature is cool, but it's a shame it's tied directly to your group recovery and not your second wind. At level 10, you gain Rallying Surge. Okay, this is the kind of thing that I'm looking for from a support fighter. This one is tied to your action surge, so also once per short rest for most of the game. Choose charisma modifier amount of allies within 30 feet of yourself, and each of those allies can immediately take a reaction to use one of the following options: attack or move. One attack with a weapon or unarmed strike. So very cool to give to your rogue for an off-turn sneak attack, for example. And it doesn't say melee weapon, so you could have your hiding rogue fire off his short bow or throw a dagger, and that'd work just fine. Move allows them to move half their movement speed without having to worry about opportunity attacks. That can be useful, definitely. At level 10, you could use your team tactics as your bonus action so that every party member who uses an attack when you use Rallying Surge has advantage. That's pretty cool. Probably the best use of this is getting like 4 extra attacks on a big boss you're already ganged up on. But even if it's just clear out these minions faster, getting extra attacks can be very strong. Moving is situational, but when you need it, you'll feel like you got serious battlefield control. The biggest negative for this one is just, I wish it was a larger emanation, say 60 feet. Speaking of, at level 15, the Banneret gets Shared Resilience. If an ally within 60 feet of yourself fails a saving throw, you can take a reaction to give that ally a use of your Indomitable feature. The chosen ally can immediately reroll the save and have the bonus to their roll of your fighter level, just like you would. So at the level you get this, that's whatever they roll, plus their bonuses, plus 15. Yes, this is good. It unfortunately does use one of your Indomitable uses, but this is a great option to have. Sometimes you really need to make sure your barbarian doesn't get banished, or that your spellcaster maintains concentration, or that your NPC buddy doesn't fall while traversing over those ball bearings. Okay, that last one wasn't as important, but you could also use this on a death save. Ally you can see is the requirement. They don't have to be able to hear you. Very cool feature, shows up a little late, but very cool. At level 18, you become an Inspiring Commander. You get 2 benefits. Benefit 1, this boosts the group recovery and Rallying Surge to make them 60-foot emanations. Bigger range is definitely better than not bigger range. Benefit 2, you have immunity to the Charmed and Frightened conditions. I mean, it's fine. Those conditions are real rough for a fighter and more common at higher levels, but this is a level 18 feature. I still can only use those features once per short rest. Let's quickly compare that to the other 2024 subclasses at level 18. Battlemaster upgrades their superiority die to a D12. Honestly, not that crazy of a level 18 ability either, but it does make an actual impact constantly since you have many maneuvers to use per per short rest.
How's
Champion
this?
gets Survivor, which drastically improves their ability to keep fighting, even allowing an 18 to 20 to count as a natural 20 on a death saving throw, though those benefits only matter if you're below half HP. Eldritch Knight gets improved war magic, being able to replace 2 attacks with a level 1 or 2 wizard spell, which honestly gives you a lot more utility in a fight. And then Psy Warrior gains access to Telekinetic Master, which allows you to cast Telekinesis, a 5th level spell with no components, and gives you a bonus action attack while you're concentrating. Honestly, that's the best of the bunch. But Inspiring Commander, it's most of the time the worst one. When it isn't the worst one, it's because of the Charmed and Frightened condition immunities, which would allow you to use your shared resistance to protect a party member from a large AoE charm or fear effect. The 60 feet emanation does give a little more versatility to party composition in a fight. Otherwise, I'm just not sure. Overall, I am a little sad about this. It's going to get poor feedback, obviously, and I worry the lesson will be, gee, people sure hate the support fighter, instead of, gee, we sure undercooked the support fighter. You could probably make a better support fighter out of a current Battle Master. You really feel like you have battlefield control as one of those already. But I can see the concept here. I can see that once in every 10-ish fights, where your group recovery brings back your entire party from being knocked out, or your use of team tactics gives everyone advantage, or Rallying Surge has your entire party make attacks all at once and completely changes the tide of battle in one fell swoop, you'll feel like a badass. That is exactly the kind of thing that people want from this type of subclass. Unfortunately, I think most of the time you're going to feel like you don't even have a subclass. Once per short rest on a pretty specific set of abilities, I don't know, gang. I think this is mostly just a miss. But I'll still play one, and honestly, I look forward to it. The people who want to play a support fighter, like me, are going to enjoy this, combined especially with some of the new party-focused feats from this same book. And your party members, they're gonna love your Banneret. I'm not the type of player who needs to feel super powerful all the time. I pretty much make exclusively purposefully flawed characters, from my Divination Wizard who had only 1 damaging spell, which was the cantrip Mind Sliver, my Beastmaster Ranger and his Jaguar Companion, who was built exclusively to be a support for his beast and not be very effective on his own, being a ranger with only +1 to dex, to my Plasmoid Sorcerer, who will soon be rebuilt as a Scion, that was built for the flavor of being a weird goopy guy. Think Stinking Cloud and Acid Splash and stuff like that. I can definitely play a Banneret, especially with some of those new feats I mentioned. Ooh, baby! I'm excited about those feats. One of them especially, which I've already made a short about on my channel. I'll be covering more of this book in detail, so make sure you subscribe if you want to hear more. Look, I'm not going to score a subclass that I haven't played yet or anything, and you know how I feel about this already. Consider this my first impressions. Maybe I'll revisit this subclass someday, or do an overview of all the fighters, or rank subclasses from different books. I don't know. For now, I'm calling this a bit of a miss. As I mentioned very briefly right near the intro, I can see one very good use of this specific mix of abilities, where not being able to do these things more often won't really matter much. Does your party have an NPC temporarily with the group for some reason? Maybe a commander or a guild leader or something? Just pluck those features right off this subclass. You get a real basic damage attack, and then once per day, a group heal, group advantage, rerolling a save. These are the kind of abilities that make your PCs feel awesome without overshadowing them at all. And you always want your PCs to feel awesome, unless you're killing them or psychologically torturing them with their backstory or something. But otherwise, I guess let's say you mostly want your PCs to feel awesome. All right, y'all, that's my impressions. Banneret, a bit disappointing, but I'll still build one. Do good, be good. Bye.